Hello, this is Guy. Today's video is going to be about inner earth. I don't know how many of you are familiar with a civilization living in the inside of the earth. So there are reports. The first one that I know about is from the 19th century from a gentleman called Admiral Byrd, who on one of his expeditions in the name of the, I think, I don't know what was it, American or English government, I don't remember, came across the inner earth. He kind of just found himself there all of a sudden. And it was quite an amazing environment that he came into, something that he absolutely did not expect. And when he spoke about it, when he went back to his ship, he was basically shut up, and he was told that he wasn't allowed to speak to speak to anybody about it. There's another eyewitness who is a Norwegian guy called Olaf Jansen, who also found himself in inner earth when he was in a storm, when he was fishing with his dad on the sea. And he somehow found that they also found themselves there suddenly, and stayed there for 2 years, according to him. And when he got back up, his father passed away, and he told people about his experiences, with the result that he was locked up in a psychiatric institution for 28 years. And lately there is a lady who has come out a lot about this subject with her experiences. Her name is Krista Jasinski. Unfortunately, this is not something... no, but the book is translated into English also. It's called Thalos of Athos, an eyewitness of the inner earth, or something like that. So her husband, Alf Jasinski, was a contactee, and he frequented inner earth, and he's writing about his experiences in a series of books that are called Thales von Athos. Ein Augenzeuge berichtet über die innere Erde, or something like that. It's in German, and I just said the English title. This is coming out more lately. Voices are coming out of people who have also visited the inner earth and have not talked about it. Also, Alf Jasinski, who wrote books about it, was very much attacked. And his wife says, Krista Jasinski says, that it ultimately basically kind of killed him because he got very sick from all these attacks that he received when he wrote those books. So another lady who's speaking about her experiences with inner earth is a lady called Lydia Gruber, who has a channel called Amira Solis. So AMIRASOLIS, but this is in German also. So this came to my attention recently, and I I had heard about it before. I can't remember on which occasion. And when I heard about the subject the first time, I thought, oh, I have been there. And so my motto for all the information that I get, or for all the information that I pass on, is that I want it proven to myself. I am not passing on any information that I just read somewhere or pick up somewhere. It always has to be an information that I can confirm with my own experiences. So what happened to me when I was still in university was that I was participating in a group meditation, with this guy whose name was Andreas. It doesn't really play a role, but in order to not call him the guy, I'm gonna say his name. So anyway, Andreas led us into this meditation where something like a totem animal was supposed to take us somewhere, but he didn't say where. He just said, okay, now this animal is going to come and take you somewhere. And my totem animal, I don't know, totem animal, but it was supposed to be an animal. I don't remember what name he gave this, an animal guide or totem animal, but anyway, so the animal that came to me to lead me somewhere was a bear. I don't really have any connections with bears whatsoever, but anyway, there was a bear that took me, and he took me to a ladder that led to the inside of the earth. And so we went down there, and I found myself in a city. It was lit. I couldn't tell by which source, but there was a whole city that I looked at. I didn't have any further contact. I just saw this city underneath the earth, and then I don't remember anything further. But eventually, we had to get out of the meditation, and I just couldn't get out. It was very, very hard, and everybody had already returned, kind of, and I was just still lying there, and I couldn't move. So eventually, I mean, I've had this happen before. I know what needs to happen. Actually, I don't remember if it was at the time that I knew what had to happen, but when that happened, somebody has to touch me in order for me to return to my physical body. And I kind of motioned somebody to touch my arm, and then I returned, but it was very hard, and I kept kind of slipping away. Yeah, so that was my experience. So I can confirm that I saw something like that. And when I learned about Inner Earth, I was like, oh, okay, right. I know that. Um, yeah. And what recently also happened, it was, I don't know, I think a year ago in summer, or 1.5 years now ago, that we went to a place which is called Davilis Cave in Greece. And I went with friends because a friend of mine said, oh, there's this really cool cave and there's lots of paranormal activity there. Check it out. And do you want to come? We're going there on an excursion. And I thought, yeah, sure, that sounds really nice. And I looked it up, and I found a lot of interesting information on that cave, which actually was described in the internet as a place that was haunted, and there was I don't know, appearances of ghosts, water running the wrong direction, people hearing voices, people disappearing. um, things like that. And it was described as something very scary. And people did like ghost hunting there and things like that. Anyway, so we went. And the cave has a history that a bandit called Davelis was staying there. He hid there in like the 1800s. And that's why the cave has that name. And there's a church in the cave also, a little church. And we went there. First of all, it's close to a quarry. And as we approached the cave, we had to hike there. We passed some of the quarry sites, and I felt into the energy there. And of course, I was very interested to see what I find. What is this place? And when I was standing there with the quarry, I felt an intense feeling of the earth being hurt. And then we got to the cave and we went inside, and it was a huge cave. And I also checked out the church in front, which was covered in like satanic worship kind of graffiti. And then inside the cave, I also felt like, what is the energy here? And it was nothing as I had read in the internet, scary and haunted and things like that. It was absolutely beautiful. It was so, I don't know how to describe it, but it was so, I really have no words, but it was incredibly beautiful, the energy in this cave. So I was like, oh, this place is not haunted. This place is magic. And then I found a hole, which was a little up, so it was not easy to reach that hole. I just checked out the entire cave and found that hole, and I was like, oh, what's there? And I climbed into that hole, which was further up than the normal reach of a person. I had to climb up there basically. And I found you could go in that hole, and I went in the hole. It was dark. And in the hole, there was a ladder. So I went down the ladder to the bottom. It was pitch dark, of course. And then I had my flashlight. And, oops, sorry about that. It was my email. And then I found that there was the beginning of a tunnel. So I checked out that tunnel. I went inside basically, but the tunnel didn't lead anywhere. It just stopped at some point. And when I went out, I knew somehow that this place was an entrance to inner earth that had been shut down. And what I have learned about inner earth so far is that the entrances of the inner earth have been shut, and the civilization of the inner earth and the outer earth used to live together until the circumstances forced the civilization to retreat into the inner earth. And people in inner earth, they're very, very high vibrational. They live very long. That's all the information that I got from eyewitnesses. So yeah, it's not my own experience, as I said. What I've seen was what I told you, but that's what I've heard. They live very long, and they live very much in harmony with the environment, and yeah, they have a very high vibrational lifestyle. And also, I've heard from reports of eyewitnesses that they are very tall. The people there are very tall, like 3-4 meters tall. And it's a very funny, because the cave, Davelis cave, has a stairways or steps that lead down into the cave that are never described anywhere in the internet. You have to actually go there to see them, and it's very, very strange, these steps, because they are much too high for normal people to use. I mean, for human beings to use. They look like steps for giants. um, yeah, so when I heard the description of people of inner earth, I thought of these steps, and I was like, uh-huh, okay, that's why these steps are so big. Because people who used them were actually much, much taller. And yeah, I mean, we were there with my friends, and we were debating about this fact that there were these steps there, and what were they for. They just looked so strange. They didn't look like they were of any use for anybody. What is the purpose of making these huge steps into the cave? Um, so yeah, I talked to my star people about it today, and I asked them, "What about this? What's up with that?" And what they told me was that um, it's the time now that these civilizations are going to be reunited, and this is kind of a preparatory phase where people are slowly being guided towards the notion that something like that exists. And they said to me to start communicating with the inner earth. And I said, why do you want me to communicate? And by communicating, they meant, mentally take up contact. And they said, communicating is activating. And also, they said, it's a time now that this needs to and will return into the consciousness of humanity. So that's why I'm telling you all of this. I thought it was a pretty cool subject. And yeah, I wanted to direct some attention towards the fact that this civilization in the inner earth might be more of a subject in the future. Yeah, yeah, so you have a really nice evening or whatever time it is where you are, and I'll see you soon. Bye.